All right, what we're gonna go over right now is a common situation that all players get to, especially when we're transitioning from the baseline to the non-volley line. We often get stuck right mid-court, and there's nothing wrong with being here, but what we've got to really figure out is, am I in a position, do I have to block the ball, or can I accelerate and counterattack the ball? So what we're looking at is positioning is your key component here, recognizing where you are on the court. We all get stuck in defense. So what we want to look at is, if I'm mid-court, okay, and I might be a little bit too wide and a little bit too low, okay, what I want to feel is, am I in a position that I can accelerate forward when that ball is coming to me, okay? So what we're trying to do is recognize that ability. So let's look at this position. Let's say I'm a little bit too wide, and what I mean by too wide is, if you can feel the sides of your feet pushing into the sides of your shoes, you are probably too wide. From that position, it is very hard to accelerate forward, okay? So if my opponent is going to attack me and I'm mid-court and I'm like that, so let's say I'm a little compressed and they're coming at me, I've got to figure out how to soften the ball, okay? So often, let's say I'm low, my opponent attacks me at my body. Now my paddles may be pulled in. So basically, let's say my arms are touching my sides. That paddle is now too close to my body. So I'm not in a movement forward. I'm now in a position where I've got to get out of this defensive position, and I've got to neutralize the ball that's coming to me. So from here, what I'm looking at is my opponent's coming. She's going to feed me that ball. I'm going to try to pull up and away. So we're going to go a little bit higher with those. So see, I'm going to try to pull away from the shot and kind of pop up. So I'm using the right side of my body because that opponent is attacking the left. So if I'm in this position, I've got to literally pull my body up, and I've got to kind of fade away from the ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my right shoulder. I'm going to pull my hip back slightly. Now look at this paddle position, okay? So my elbow's down, it's not cocked out, and that tip of my paddle is kind of what I'm adjusting to get that ball. So I'm going to pop up and try to pull away from it, okay? Just a very minimal motion to get that ball over the net. Okay. So now I'm getting my weight forward and I'm ready to move, okay? So now what's the difference? What allows me to counterattack in this position? All right, so now I want to be more weight forward, okay? So I'm kind of getting in this little sprinter stance. My weight's on my toe a little bit. I'm getting off my heels. And what I'm looking at is, now I want my paddle out here. So if I'm looking for this shot, now when my opponent comes to me, now my contact point is going to be pushing off and accelerating forward on that ball. Okay, so now I'm in a good position. Whoop, a little high. So now there's my counterattack position. So look at that base difference. I'm kind of squatting, my body's tight, and I'm compressed. This is not an attackable position. So that's my blocking position, where I know this is what I have to do. I have to reset the ball, okay, so that I can get my momentum forward. Now, if I'm in my kind of hunter stance, I'm ready, I'm looking for my opponent to attack me. As soon as they're ready, I'm pushing off my shot and accelerating. Really important here is that paddle has got to stay above the net when I'm doing this shot. I want to make sure I'm finishing towards my target, so my elbow's extended, my shoulder's extended. I'm not punching the ball or slapping at it. I'm swinging through and allowing the weight from my hips and my legs to create the power, and I'm ready for that next shot. So remember, the important factors of this is recognizing what position you are in. Am I in a defensive position that I need to get to neutral, or am I ready to attack and pounce? So make sure when you're practicing this, put the effort into doing both, okay? Put it into some point play. And remember, when you've got your drill partner over there, the important thing is getting that feed that's consistent. So it's okay to use your paddle. If you don't feel good feeding with the paddle, toss it with your hands. It's all about getting the motion and the muscle memory so that you make this a habit.